Alright, what's up? Spoilers for the next Commander set have been. I think they started on the weekend. I'm not sure if they're in normal spoiler season now with new ones every day. Commander spoilers are usually pretty interesting. They try to make some of the cards extremely flashy, things that you're really excited to build around. You're excited to play the pre-constructed deck that they come with. But then, because they know that they're making cards that will never have to be in standard, they're often pretty adventurous when it comes to pushing kind of more standard effects, making things that could actually end up seeing some play in Legacy. First, I want to check: is there any new Throne of Eldraine? No. All right, we've seen these already, and it seems like they might even be like Commander focused, anyways. So we're in full Commander mode lately. We'll do full. Yeah, this works well. Okay. Clever Impersonator. This is a reprint from Khans, apparently. It's a clone effect that can do any non-land permanent, which is pretty cool. Not really too much to say about that. I'm kind of surprised that it comes in a Mythic rare. I guess it's a Mythic in Khans, too. But the rarities for these pre-cons doesn't really matter too much, like, given that you're not pulling them from packs or anything. They're just as rare as they are. Sure. Ghostly Prison, this card has been around forever. It looks like it's never been modern or standard legal, which is kind of interesting. Oh, it is modern legal, so it wasn't a modern set at one point. Oh, it was way back in Kamigawa. But yeah, this is a fine card. I don't know if these are in the same deck. I'm not really sure how to tell. I'm assuming eventually we'll kind of work out which deck various cards are in. Well, Zarek, sure. Another reprint. Here we go, a new card. Dockside Extortionist. When it enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. Alright, pretty cool. In a multiplayer game, of course, where you've got 5 or 6 opponents. Well, maybe not 5 or 6. 3 or 4, I guess, is more reasonable. You can make a lot of treasure from this. Artifacts are pretty common, especially in the early game. Mana rocks and such in Commander are very, very widely played. If your deck doesn't have Soul Ring, your deck is probably not as good as the version of your deck that has Soul Ring. Why is this on? Oh, okay. So yeah, this kind of gives you like some tempo back. If they're really ramping quickly, you can pseudo ramp. Yeah, okay, all right, pretty neat. Good flavor. Good goblin. Wall of Stolen Identity. You do tablet copy. Ooh, okay. So it's sort of removal. It takes the one thing out of contention. Is there like a clone-themed deck, perhaps? You don't get like a fighting copy of that creature, but if it's like an ability usage type creature, you can still tap it and activate its abilities, of course. Just because it doesn't attack doesn't mean that it's really any less useful for a lot of creatures. Yeah, okay, alright, that's pretty good. Again, clone effects are usually around this much mana. It's slightly more expensive than the cheapest clones. But the fact that it locks down your opposing creature is pretty sweet. Yeah, alright. The problem is, often the utility of the clone comes from the fact that you can clone your own creatures, too. If you're actually in a pretty good board position and you have something quite strong, you can throw down a clone on your own guy. It doesn't just need to be in a situation where your opponent has the best creature on the board. But in this case, that really doesn't do you very much good at all, given that you've essentially removed your other copy from existence. Oh, a wall-themed deck? Is that what is going on here? A legendary wall. Has that ever happened before? Well, let's look at this one first, because we'll see the whole thing. So it enters the battlefield, choose left or right. Each player may only attack the nearest opponent in a chosen direction and planeswalker controlled by the opponent. Okay, so I'm a little disappointed because this has really no effect at all outside of multiplayer. And I know that Commander is a very multiplayer-centered format, but there are people that play 1v1 Commander. And of course, I like to see cards that have interesting impact in Commander, but are also plausibly playable in other formats, whereas I don't see why this would ever be played in any non-multiplayer format. It is kind of a cool idea, I guess. The thing is, like, I'm not really sure how you can make this extremely advantageous just for yourself. Like it's such a symmetrical effect, and it's such an effect that it's like dependent on the very unique state of the game. I assume like you choose the opponent that's kind of in a weaker position and have them only attack you of the two next to you, but in many cases it's not really going to make that much of a difference. I don't know. The art is neat. The idea of a legendary wall I think is very neat. Its colors, entrancing aggressors, directing their violence, very cool, flavorfully, but the effect isn't really that exciting. I don't know. Is it the only legendary wall? That's not what I meant to do. Legendary wall. Search. Just this. Yeah. Alright, cool. Prismatic Strands is another reprint. Okay, so a colored fog effect. It's a pretty nice flashback cost. Flashback for free. Sure. Like the future. Exile the top 3 cards of your library until end of turn. You may play those cards. If this card is cast from a graveyard, you may play the cards this way without paying their mana costs. Ooh, okay, now we got something real spicy. Is it that spicy? I don't know. Any card that has a very powerful effect coming from the graveyard, I'm always quite interested in. Because it's a lot easier to get cards, a lot more reliable to get cards into your graveyard than it is to your hand. Like, it's easy to just dump your whole deck, and then you play this. Like, 8 mana seems prohibitive, but a lot of those decks that are quite degenerate about just dumping stuff in the graveyard are also quite degenerate about chaining through tons of rituals and making tons of mana. So I don't think there's anything about this card that's actually prohibitive. 4 mana to do this kind of impulsive draw 3 is already actually not that bad. Then the free aspect is very exciting too. The problem is like these effects synergize well if you're just kind of playing this for fun and for value, you know? And the rest of your deck is just things you want to cast. But to actually turn this into some sort of degenerate combo, to actually really take advantage of the fact that you get to play some cards for free, that you get to do something very significant with a card in your graveyard, it's like you need a toolbox of enablers to actually make that happen, and a toolbox of payoffs, which, you know, these two toolboxes really kind of take up most of your deck. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very cool card, though. It would be neat if somehow this was playable, but I'm not too sure. The flavor is quite neat too, this kind of smoke reading thing. Backdraft Hellkite. Whenever it attacks, each instant sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to the mana cost. Ooh. If this had haste, I would be quite interested. As kind of a different route through things like Past in Flames and such. Very exciting effects. Something that doesn't really require, as this card does, a major distinction between enablers and payoffs. Yeah, I don't know. This is pretty sweet. A nice combo is that this can actually give a second flashback effect to this. So, because the flashback is equal to the mana cost, whereas the flashback here is normally 8, the flashback actually becomes 4, but you still get this effect of playing everything for free. So that's like a little cool combo. Maybe there'll be a few other cards in this deck. It looks like there's a flashback deck. So it's like a wall deck, a flashback deck, and then some other decks we haven't seen. I think is what's going on here. Yeah, so I kind of like those little combos. It's pretty cool. I assume there's also just a lot of cheap instants and stuff that kind of help your deck churn through itself, and you can recast. Empowered Auto Generator. There's a battlefield tapped. So I have to put a charge counter on it. Add X mana 1 color. Ooh, now that is fun. Now this is some fun flavor text too. So just the continuously growing mana rock. It's quite expensive at the start, costing 4, and it can't go on the turn you play it, which is quite unfortunate. But in a long game like Commander, in a long format, this can end up making you a lot of mana by the end. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think it's way too slow. If you compare it to the sort of mana rocks you normally have access to, it doesn't really matter that in like 5 turns it's giving you 5 mana, because that's like turn 9 and the game has been over like 5 different ways before then. So I think it's a commander only thing, but I don't know. I guess this is about as pushed as they could make the design. It would either have to cost more, or it would, if you wanted to get rid of this, or it has to have this if it wants to be as quote-unquote cheap as for generic mana. So I assume they pushed this as much as they felt like they could. River Kelpie. Whenever or another permanent enters the battlefield from the graveyard, draw a card. Here comes a spell from the graveyard, draw a card. So this, of course, also in our flashback deck. This seems quite good utility if you're just spamming a lot of flashback cards. Yeah, a good reprint. It's $6 too. So a lot of these Shadowmoor cards, even if they've never seen constructed play, have just been slowly creeping up in price, like this whole block, just because it wasn't open very much. Forest, easy, nice. Island, of course, classic. Mountain, looking good. And a plains, swamp. That's a pretty swamp. It's a very rare swamp that you get to see like a sunny day, you know? All these other swamps, miserable, miserable. This one's like evening at least. Dark, evening, maybe day, but very cloudy day. Dark clouds. City swamp. But this, yeah, the contrast on it is nice. Chance of 30 to 50 feral minotaurs. Do you know what this means? I think it's like 35 to 45 feral hogs. I don't know. Yeah, no, it is 30 to 50 feral hogs. So it's from some tweet. It's talking about like gun control and stuff. And a common response to suggestions of gun control in America is like, well, what about animals? I need to defend myself from animals, which is just patently absurd. I don't know where these people are, and to kind of make fun of that, like, why would you need an assault rifle to deal with dangerous animals? 30 to 50 feral hogs. Hey, good. Good. Anyways. Cast this spell only during combat. Your opponents can't cast spells this turn. End the combat phase. Ah! Now this is a line of text that has never been on a card before, as far as I know. You can try searching for it just to make sure. But that's kind of exciting. Oh. Oh. I guess because, yeah, it's just that all these words appear. Yeah, no, they've never really done this. It's just talking about additional combat phases. So white has the ability straight up now to end the combat phase, which I guess isn't too different from general fog effects. This is pretty interesting because it punishes something that is typically seen as like one of the kind of stepping stones becoming a good magic player, which is really making use of your main phase too, leaving all your mana up during combat, and then being able to psych out various combat tricks or other plays, and then, you know, still doing everything you want on main phase 2 once your opponent has already kind of committed to responding or not responding to other things. So this, of course, makes it that you can't cast anything during main phase 2. You also can't attack. That's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. So the card is actually like piece of something moving, going somewhere. The piece of going somewhere. Whoa! I keep forgetting that the text highlighting program does that. Great Oak Guardian. This is like a Commander Classic, it looks like. Big tree that just pops in. Sure. So I wonder what deck this goes in. It could kind of be allied with Defender, I guess. Wall deck. There's a lot of like tree folk that kind of do stuff like that, but I don't know, I kind of doubt it. Maybe a flash deck? It's still burning, huh? Alright, cool. Fitted Hydra, I remember this guy from Cons. The way it looks is so neat. Oh, Morph? I feel like I read somewhere that one of the commander decks was Morph, which is exciting. Morph is a pretty cool mechanic. I also like how every single morph card ever printed actually gets slightly stronger with the printing of each additional morph card, because it's just one other card that your opponent has to reckon that it could be in Legacy, I guess, only in Legacy. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, that's kind of fun. Reality Shift, another card going back to a $5 uncommon from Ugin's Fate. Wait, what is Ugin's Fate? That's like not even a set. What the hell? What does that mean? Oh, what? 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 Okay, okay. So yeah, it looks like Morph is maybe one of the decks. Except that here it gives your opponent a Morph, almost assuredly. So that's kind of strange, but this seems like a very powerful effect. You know, it's basically a Beast Within that turns them into a 2/2. Sure, potentially they could top deck another creature and then unmorph that, but that's no different than them just drawing the creature and playing it. The only difference is that they get a 2/2 body, which, like, big whoop. You'll probably be able to blow it up before they get a chance to unmorph it anyways. So, yeah, I don't know. This seems like a very, very strong effect. I guess it's not as good as Beast Within, because Beast Within is exile target permanent. Or non-land permanent, maybe. Or is it just target creature? But still, this is a type of strong unconditional removal that blue very rarely gets against creatures. So yeah, I can see why this is expensive. I'm actually surprised I don't hear of it in like Modern or something. You can blow up Hogark, then make them manifest just like Stitcher Supply or something. It's like whatever, I guess. I don't know. Sagu Mauler. Yes, Morph is coming. Sure, sure. This is just basically a French vanilla morph creature. Tempt with Discovery. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful art. I'm surprised I haven't seen this art, or I just hadn't remembered it or something. William Wu. Not very many cards, but they're all pretty fantastic. This is definitely my favorite, though. That's really nice. Search your library for a land card and put it on the battlefield. Each opponent may search the library for a bank card. Whoa, alright. So this is kind of fun. I kind of remember this mechanic. I don't remember, think it was on very many cards, but it's really neat. Lots of kind of politics and multiplayer games, you know, who deserves to get a chance, how much can we allow the person casting this to ramp or do whatever else. Even in a 1v1 game, it's kind of interesting too. Would you rather be down a land and have that be a 1-0 or a 2-1 ratio? Like, I don't know. I feel like you most often take the offer. But then again, you know that they want to hit a certain point, like they're deliberately wrapping up the 6 or something. So then, do you deny them? I don't know. New art for Sakura Tribe Elder? Could it be? But I love this guy. He's so wise and just sort of reclusive, and he just doesn't seem like he's like such a badass or whatever. Whereas this guy's got like a sword, some arrows. I think this guy's ready to fight. He has just 2 walking sticks. He needs 2 walking sticks. Because the feet aren't doing it. Or does he even have feet? Isn't he a snake? So he has slithering sticks. And this guy's like ready for battle. What the heck? Anyways, this is of course a classic card. One of the more powerful land tutoring effects, mana dork type things. The fact you can block with it and then sack it and get a land. It provides so much value. Cool card. Farseek. So it looks like there's maybe just a ramping deck too. Seems crazy. They really got to be careful there because, like, you know, morph walls, flashback. Well, flashback is pretty potent, I guess. But ramp type cards do commonly see play in Legacy, right? So if they're going to try to make an exciting ramp card, one that's a little pushed, it could very easily take the slot of another ramp card, because ramp is like quite universal, you know? There's not that really many ways to do it. You're just getting yourself more mana. And so any card that gets you more mana can be replaced with generally any other card that gets you more mana, albeit it has to be like the type of mana you need. You see what I'm saying? Whereas like a flashback type card, they can do a billion different ways, and the current decks that make use of flashback don't necessarily want anything to do with these new effects. So it's like, whoa, you know, if they really are making ramp deck, be careful. Anyways, this is another extremely powerful ramp card. Because it never says basic, you can get all sorts of duels, the double type duels with this. So it's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. Ooh, now we're talking ramp. Oh my god, now this is a big, big, big mana rock. A mana engine. It's had this art going all the way back. It's pretty iconic. You see this showing up in cubes and stuff. It's potent enough to be played as a ramp spell in almost any format where it's visible. I don't really think it's that playable in actual constructed Legacy, but like the power is there. Like if there was a deck that came to need something like this is the card that it would be. Did I I worded that very strangely, but I think you know what I mean. Alright, cool. Thalia's Geist Caller. Maybe you cast the spell from your graveyard, create an... Ooh. Hey, alright. That's pretty cool. This seems very pushed. It could be kind of the attacking centerpiece of a deck. All it really needs is support cards around it. And suddenly you can get a whole ton of pressure on the board, courtesy of a bunch of white flyers and 3/1 lifelinkers. You can make it indestructible, which is super nice. And yeah, as I say, you don't really need any additional payoffs. You can just make the rest of your deck cheap flashback cards and just kind of churn through stuff. Interesting. This seems quite pushed. And as I said, it's like you know, the current decks that have flashback and deal with kind of pulling stuff in and out of the graveyard don't necessarily need any of the flashback cards. But this is strong enough that it's like worth considering like new flashback type archetypes. Maybe? I don't know. It's interesting at least. Sunken Hollow, Slow Lands. Sure. Yes, Prairie Stream. This place looks super cool with the floating islands and stuff. Oh, Sungrass Prairie. Oh, so it's a different cycle. I have one of these cards. They're not great, because they don't do anything if it's the only land you have. But, you know, they're like a dual land that doesn't have, like that is the only downside, I guess? I don't know. The art, I think, is so lovely on this, though. Sure. Thought Sponge. Enters a battlefield with number +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest number of cards an opponent has drawn this turn. Ooh, I love it. So you flash it in response to some wheel effect, some draw 7. It's an 8/8 that's going to beat down for 8 until it is inevitably killed, at which point you will draw 8 cards. Isn't that exciting? I don't know, how exciting is it? How often is that going to happen? Are you really going to sideboard in a card like this against an opponent that has lots of wheels? And it's not like Thought Thief or whatever that card is called. It's definitely not Thought Thief. Notion Thief. It's not like Notion Thief where you prevent the draw from your opponent. You actually have to do this after they've finished drawing. So they might just be like, oh, whatever. Enjoy your 8/8. I have a handful of new cards and I'm going to use them to win the game. Well, it's pretty cool, though. Very cool design. Great flavor. I just love... How many sponges do we even have? Sponge? Ah, just this one and Walking Sponge. Nice. The tribe is building. The tribe is finally building. I love it. Stratus Dancer. This is a reprint with a Megamorph. And it's a nice effect. Yeah, this card seems strong enough. Another morph. Counter target spell. Ooh, so it full-on hijacks their card. That's quite exciting. It's an expensive thing, but I think the card Spelljack is also 6 mana. So that's about what they put at that effect. And you get a 3/3. So yeah. Nantaku Vigilante. Again, more utility flip-ups. I like it. Vraska the Unseen. There seems to be reprinting like a cycle of Planeswalkers. I'm not sure if that normally happens in Commander or not. Usually Planeswalkers don't usually get reprinted as much as they just want to make other cards with that Planeswalker type. So that's kind of cool. I always thought this one was neat. It's alt. It's just so like flavorful, and it just completely twists the type of game. Like your opponent can still stay alive. Of course, they come down with Summoning Sickness, so they get one turn to try to set something up. They just deal with 3 measly little 1/1s. But you know, they're right on the edge. Ooh, I love it. Apex Altasaur. Dinosaurs, baby! Okay, so recently Maro was like, do you guys want dinosaurs to be, you know, evergreen? Do you want dinosaurs to show up, like, whenever we can, as often as we can, in core sets and supplemental products? And everyone just said yes. Everyone just saying yes, 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 yes. And here we have a 10/10 big dino for 9. Hell yes. It just fights all the time. I love it. Here we see a Colossal Maw. Wait, what's that card called? Colossal Dreadmaw. Getting ready to get 10/10'd. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So this must be in the ramp deck. This is a payoff for the ramp deck. Trail of Mystery. Alright, cool. Yeah, okay, alright. I kind of remember this card. It's like a Morph Synergy type card. Oh, another Morph Fight Effect. I was about to say, this art looks really new for something that was in Legions. And then I looked at this, and it's like the most Legions-y art ever, ever, ever. And they're never going to make cards that look like this again, which personally I'm okay with. I mean, I know people decry kind of the lack of art diversity in modern Magic, and I agree with them in general. I'd like to see more varied styles. But there's certain old styles that I don't think I miss that much, and this is... yeah. Yeah, I like this guy better. It looks like a Prodigy album cover. But maybe that reference is too old for most people. Alright, cool card. Den Protector, of course, an absolute classic. One of the strongest morph cards ever. Basically giving you this sweet Eternal Witness effect. Sure. Thieving Amalgam. Maybe each opponent's upkeep may manifest... oh, you... not may. I just inserted may. But it's not. You have to. Manifest the top card of that player's library. You manifest their... whoa, okay. What could you control but don't own dies? Its owner loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Wow, okay, so this thing just continually generates morphs coming from your opponent's deck. If you have the mana to flip them, you can. Either way, if they die, face up or face down, you drain your opponent for 2. This seems all very exciting. Of course, as a 7-drop, you would hope that it would do something like that. And as an Ape Snake, you would hope that it would give you some sort of effect. That's gonna give your opponents nightmares for weeks to come. I sure know I will. It's playing some Final Fantasy VII here in the background. But yeah, this card is really cool. I'm actually surprised that they didn't make this legendary, because this kind of feels like the sort of thing you would want as your commander, like something that you'll know you can get going every game, and then you have like a whole bunch of other synergies with this. I don't know. Seems pretty sweet. If only that card... there's a legendarily bad card called Break Open. It's considered one of the worst cards ever, because you're basically giving your opponent a free unmorph, which is almost always going to work out vastly in their favor. But if it was... check it out, if it was control... an opponent owns instead of opponent controls... you combo with this guy, start flipping all your opponent's dudes for free. Okay. That'd be quite exciting. What else we got? Grismold the Dread Sower. I'm not really sure what deck this goes in. It doesn't... I guess there's still one we haven't... Flashback, Walls, Morph, Ramp. No, there's usually 4, isn't there? So... what is this for? Or is there like a token deck? This is the first card we're seeing of it. At any rate, it's pretty cool. The art is quite interesting. The fact that they have these such like vivid, high contrast flowers, I think, on a card that also has very kind of creepy body horror type elements is a contrast that I personally am very disturbed by, which means I know they're doing a good job and that other people might just wholeheartedly like. So yeah, that's neat. This effect is pretty neat too. I can see decks being very synergized with this. It's a commander. That's what a commander looks like. Sure, alright, that's pretty sweet. Kind of a massacre worm type effect. You gotta morph it up for at least... well, I don't know. Yeah, you can just easily kill itself and kill everything else. That's nice. Death Mist Raptor, back. Another extremely spooky morph card. Except that in... Oh, no. I mean, in Standard Constructed, this thing was scary in multiples, because it would get all of its buddies back. But you don't really need to do that in Commander. You can just be flipping other cards, too, and be getting this back. So, yeah, that's quite nice. Stronic Resonator. Yeah, okay, I remember this card. This card's pretty neat. It's, like, fairly pushed in terms of cost. Evidently not pushed enough that people are, like, actually trying this in decks, as far as I can tell. I'm not really sure what the combo would be, but I'm sure if it was a little cheaper or it had some way to do multiple uses on a turn by itself, instead of just being tapped down, you could get somewhere infinite with this. I'm almost certain. Sure. Suvian Shapeshifter, a classic clone card. So is clone an archetype too? Or is one of them like wall clone or something? I don't know. After we look at all these cards, let's go onto the subreddit and look at the articles and see if we can figure out what the heck is going on. Yeah, no, this card is really neat. The fact that it can keep morphing into different things as more powerful cards show up is sweet. It's actually quite cheap for the initial morph compared to a lot of other clone type effects. Yeah, I don't know. Gift of Doom. Ooh, good gosh. What? Whoa. Hey, that's cool. That's so cool. Okay, so, I mean, this is quite a powerful effect. That's such an indestructible. It's just basically the combat champ going forward. You can play it a lot cheaper if you morph it, sack another creature, throw it on your best guy. I quite like this. The other interesting thing is that this allows something to happen at a speed at which it's never happened before. You're attaching an aura to a creature at morph speed, which is, if you don't know, a super transcendental speed that goes even faster than split second. It doesn't use the stack, it just happens like that. I don't know why. I've never understood why that's the case, that you need to be able to unmorph like so reliably. But, that's how it is. I guess it was that they didn't want like Stifle to ruin Morph. So I think otherwise Stifle and Morph would interact like really strangely. At any rate, yeah, this is so cool. I hope they keep playing with other design space for Morph. Even though I imagine this is like a nightmare piece of rules text for a whole bunch of things. Like, what if you have a triggered ability that happens when an aura attaches to a creature? Does that also happen at Transcendental Morph Speed, or is that just normally put on the stack? And if it's just put on the stack, it's kind of like put in the stack in response to nothing, It's like, I kind of feel like that would maybe not even trigger, because it just happens before, like by the time something checks whether or not creatures are being enchanted, this creature has already been enchanted. I don't know. We're just gonna move on. It's Volrath! Whoa! Okay, so Volrath, a very legendary card in Magic's history. We've seen some cards with him before. Curse, Servant, his Dungeon, his Stronghold, that's a famous one. his shapeshifter, his lab, and then this is his previous actual legendary card, which is a pretty neat card, but this guy I'm sure is going to be a lot more pushed, just because creatures in general have been a lot more pushed since then. Then you come back on your turn, play the +1/+1, -1/-1 counter and up to one target creature. Ooh, goodness. Wow. So that's a lot of fun. You can just kill small dudes, turn into big dudes, turn into bigger and bigger dudes until you've just had enough. And it's a 5-mana 7/5 to begin with. Already you're getting quite a lot of value there. This is just such a oppressive card. Such a brutally oppressive card that can single-handedly deal so much damage. I'm curious, could this actually be constructed playable? In Legacy, I'm thinking no, it's just too slow and it can just die, and, you know, for so many turns you're just very slowly whittling them down and hoping that your 7/5 can get through. There's not really any creatures that are so profoundly powerful that if you had 1/2, you could just turn the tide of the game. But in Modern, I don't know, it feels a little more likely. Like, it's a little slow for Modern right now, but a lot of the decks that are, like, fastest in Modern, no, I don't think Modern either. Jeez, this art is creepy. What are you doing, Volrath? What are you making? What kind of Zoidberg abomination is this? Alright. Woo! It's Ixodron. Yeah, I remember this guy from Time Spiral. He looks a little cooler now. Turn everything face down, and then it gets really big. Yeah. And then since you're playing Morph Tribal, you can turn your guys back up, but they're likely stuck down as just a bunch of tutus. So in some sense, it's kind of like mass removal for the opponent's side, just sort of a delay on your side, and you get one gigantic guy for a little while too. Yeah, okay. Alright. That's kind of fun. It just makes tutus every turn from your least useful cards. Or you can kind of hide your big creatures out on the battlefield as tutus, and then surprise everyone with them at the most opportune moment. Yeah, okay. Pendant of Prosperity. Oh, that's fun. This is always a neat mechanic. Draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. It draws a card, and then... Oh, okay, alright. So you gotta share with somebody. Every time you each get to do the effect. So you have to rely on them using the effect quite often, or else it's just kind of useless. A very political card. But one that both ramps you, gives you card advantage, gives you something to do with your mana. Yeah, I don't know. I think most people would be very happy to pick up the pendant. Neat. It's Wegder Wilderker. Let's take the shortcut. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Return your commander to your graveyard. Ooh, alright, that's kind of neat. This is something... Again, it's not often that they explicitly reference commander mechanics. Of course, it happens more often in commander sets, but this is like new territory that they can find with interacting with your commander, which is kind of neat. So, of course, if you play your commander from your hand, you don't have to pay the commander tax, is my understanding. But I don't play much commander, so that much... I don't play much commander, so my understanding of that payment might be wrong. I don't know. Sure. Thespian Stage, of course, and surprisingly classic card, just because of Dark Depths combo. But, you know, it has a lot of abilities. It can do a lot of things in a lot of matchups. Most of the time, though, you're just using it to cheat out a 20/20. Ryami, First of the Fallen. If a non-token creature would die, exile that card with a blood counter on it instead. As long as an exiled creature with a blood counter of flying. Same to for first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, protection, reach, trample, and vigilance. Now, the use of protection here is interesting to me. I didn't know that they could kind of summarize and codify all of the various types of protection by just saying protection. That's cool. I don't know if that's how they've always done it, or if that's just like a rules text innovation for this card. There's quite a few cards that have this sort of it feeds off abilities type effects. I'm always curious like which ones they choose to include and which ones they don't. Typically, it's like all of the vanilla type, like the evergreen French vanilla creature type mechanics that really any creature can just kind of get. Yeah. All right, that's kind of neat. What deck does this go in, though? I'm still very confused. But again, the power level is quite pushed. 5/4 for 4. Very quickly it starts picking up abilities. I don't know. It's neat. Honey, I traded the kids. Sure, split second returns. Super hype. Target non-creature spell and target creature. Okay, cool. So you're trading creature for spell. You've got something on the stack. Either... okay, so it only really makes sense if there's at least 2 players involved in this. You would never want to trade your own spell for your own creature, because then you just paid 4 mana for nothing. But in either the situation where a scary spell is coming down, and you want to hijack it for the low cost of some dork, or your opponent has something super threatening on the board, so you're just going to allow them to, I don't know, shock something, and you get the creature instead. Then the player control this well. Yeah, so this is just a benefit for the player who has spelljacked it, you know, in a situation where they're bolting your face and you don't want them to bolt your face, it doesn't do you much good to have ownership of the bolt that's coming in your face, or control of it, sorry, if you don't actually get to choose to send it back to your opponent's face. I don't know, this is a pretty cool card. The fact that it has split second is neat too, because I think otherwise it would get so painfully confusing to respond to this like halfway through. After targets have been set, but before the actual control is swapped. Is it any good? Is it any good? It's never quite a full counter spell, and it's never quite a full mind control. But the fact that it can be the clutch aspect of both and clutch situations for each can't be underestimated either. It's interesting. It's interesting. All I can say is it's interesting. A new Scarecrow. Where it becomes tapped. The land card from your hand on the battlefield tapped. Ooh. Ooh, now this is quite spicy, because this can get you back fetch lands. This can do quite a lot for you. This can get you back Strip Mine, if you're putting this in a cube or something. And the fact that it's when it becomes tapped is nice too. They can't tap it down to stop it. You can swing with it. You can do other stuff with it, various equipment or enchantments or whatever that let it get tapped. There's this one. What's it called? Paradise Mantle? How do you even spell? Ah, good. Even though I didn't spell mantle right. No, this isn't the one I want. What's the one with the untap symbol? Where is the untap symbol? Oh, here we go. Yes. So, I was hoping this was on some equipment or something. No, I don't know. Interesting that that card came to mind, because it's also a Scarecrow. Maybe that's why I thought of it. Anyways, ooh, a new Gerard. Wow, 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 wow. So Gerard's card before, I always thought was very unimpressive, given that he was like the main protagonist of the story for so long. Yeah, ooh, I'm gaining life. I'm gaining like 1 or 2 life per turn as my opponent just beats me down with everything in their deck. Oh boy, I get to spend a lot of mana to tap a few creatures so I can get in with my whopping 3/4. Yeah, it just wasn't that exciting. So let's see new Gerard, the Weatherlight Hero. First strike, when it dies, exile it and return to graveyard. All out of... Whoa! Ooh, okay, this is pretty cool. So both white and red get these effects. The card I can think of is Second Sunrise, which is quite powerful. Banned in Modern as part of the Eggs deck, letting you combo off and off and off and off. This is a little more awkward because this guy has to die somehow in order for you to get your stuff back. In kind of a more mid-rangey type combo, where you're trying to just stay alive for a while as you get everything set up rather than just push everything out as quickly as possible, and it plays a little more controllingly, something like that. Maybe this is a good solution. You still need some sort of sack outlet, like you need to figure out some way to kill him. It's probably not there in terms of the combo deck. In terms of just the value play, it's kind of sweet, I guess. It has okay stats, and then on the turn it dies. Probably you get a lot of stuff that died. It kind of protects you from board wipes and stuff. Yeah, all right. I don't know. It's at least it's exciting. At least it does something that like you think could be very, very cool on one particular game, and not just, oh boy, one game I gained like 12 life with Gerard. Wow. Whoa! Phyrexian mana is back, Wizards! Be careful! Do you guys know that this card just costs 4 mana? They made it 4 artifact mana. This is the same cost as Thran Dynamo. Just be careful, Wizards! What are you doing? For each black mana in a are you kidding? Are you actually okay with this, Wizards? Are you seriously actually okay with this? Alright, here we go. Here comes the card. Wait, this guy's the son of Yawgmoth? What? Is this like actually a character? What? Is he actually the son of Yawgmoth? What? I don't remember this guy at all. What the hell? I don't think he was like literally the son of Yawgmoth. Okay, Wizards. I think even as you were grimly signing off and approving this card, everyone in the room was like, oh man, we're just doing it again, aren't we? We're just setting up some insanely degenerate combo, and it's already $28. The deck in totality doesn't retail for more than like 30. Okay, so this line of text is probably irrelevant. Same with this one. This one, though. Something scary is going to happen. You start doing free Dark Ritual. Ooh, something scary is going to happen. You might think, ooh, that's a lot of life, though. You're really paying a lot of life. But not really. I mean, you're just doing it to kind of get your enablers going, to get you more mana and to get you more cards. And if you really need life, life gain is pretty sweet and easy. You can even just include a whole like Nourishing Soul package into your deck if you'd like. I don't know. This is pretty scary. Yeah, alright. Sanctum of Eternity. Okay, alright, so again, bouncing commanders. Something they're exploring here. Come and rest here beyond the constraints of space and time. I wonder where this is in like the canon multiverse. Because it's not like the supplemental sets take place on a plane and tell a specific story, but I think every card can be connected to like some actual place in canon, even if it's not a place we've been to before. Alright, whatever. Yeah, sure. Leadership Vacuum. Turn each commander they control from the battle to commander and draw a card. Alright. Commander Bounce. Trying to get rid of that guy from Berserk, you know, that they were riding around on that one time. Oh, you know. Zorath or something? Zod? Zod. There we go. Zod. Yeah, okay. Seems alright. Ooh, Seaborn Muse. I like this card. Yeah, I think it's exciting. It makes you want to do some exciting things. I kind of remember different art. I don't know why I'm thinking different art at some point. Sure. And this is the last bunch. Ooh, now that's pretty cool. Typically this is only going to be one ability. And there's not usually a ton of abilities on the stack at once, but certain combo decks, the way they combo off is by putting like 500 billion triggers on the stack at once. And this would Flusterstorm all of them, and then some. So that's kind of neat. The stats are alright too. Kadena Slinking Sorcerer. The first base down creature spell you cast each turn costs 3 less to cast. Ooh, so you get 1 free morph per turn. And wow, and you get to draw a card too. Okay, so this is like Morph Engine plus plus plus. Good, good flavor text too. This really can take your morph deck up like 5 or 6 gears. Yes, it's all very exciting. I wonder, like, do we actually have the utility to make this sort of low to the ground, lean, mean morph deck? Maybe, maybe. You get to draw, it's basically just a free card draw every turn. And you get to build board press. Man, I don't know, this card's pretty sweet. Turn target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less when you go to battlefield. Whoa, alright, very cool. So it's like the Sun Titan effect. You get double Sun Titan. Again, it's one of those ones where if you like pass in flames or do something else like that, you actually get a cheaper flashback and a cheaper super good effect. I suppose there's maybe another one in this flashback deck that's going to be costed this way, which I think is just very, very cool. And yeah, I don't know. This could actually be part of some crazy combo. The pieces are there. Things like Revelark and new baby Revelark, and I don't know. I'm no combo rememberer, but this might have a place in it, just as like another way to kind of get things going, kind of kickstart aspects of it. Attacks each combat of Able. When it attacks, discard your hand and then draw 3 cards. Cool. Madness. So this is kind of neat because, well, neat? This is kind of confusing. Because in Commander, these are one-offs, and this thing, of course, really nicely synergizes with itself. But oh well. It's still a very cheap Madness card. It's a crazy card engine in a super aggro deck. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if this could be slotted into some sort of burn or other really fast red deck. I think it'd be kind of neat. You know, Lava Axe this, Madness it out. You burn through the rest of your hand the next turn, then it starts swinging, you're fueling up. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, the Chronoclasm. I love it already. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Sevian the Chronoclasm. You cast your first instant or sorcery spell from the graveyard each turn. Copy that spell. And choose new. Ooh, okay. Alright. So copy all your flashback stuff. Or not all of it. 1 per turn. But still, pretty neat. The fact that it's each turn is cool too, so it also counts your opponent's turn. This is quite a powerful line of text. One that I'm surprised they don't do too often as kind of like a intermediate point to Indestructible. Of course, it's worse than Indestructible because there's a lot of destroy effects that don't deal damage, but you know, it's pretty neat. Yeah, I don't know. This is pretty cool. Very, very different stat distribution than the other legends we've seen so far, but quite the effect too. NG Falconwrath. The Falconwrath family we know are vampire nobles on Innistrad. She gets the loot. She gets the haste loot, which is sweet. That's pretty awesome too. You can just loot through your entire deck, madnessing things out. Super, super fun. We all hide a little madness behind our sophistication, do we not? So cool. So flavorful. Like, the flavor text telling such a compelling story about the character, reflected in the art as well. But then also in the mechanics, you know? That we think maybe of looting as sophisticated. We're pruning our hands. We're evolving our hands, making them much more refined and elegant in the way that they like to be. But then lurking behind that is actually this depraved form of magic where you're casting your discarded stuff for super cheap or even free. Ooh la 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 la. I love it, I love it. I wish it was in Modern where such a fast Madness deck might actually kind of see play. But I suppose a lot of the best Madness cards are Legacy only anyways, like Basking Root Walla and stuff. So I don't know if it's going to get there. Actually, I'm almost positive that it won't get there. But boy, would it be cool if it did. What a crazy deck that would be. Jirad's Belligerence. X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. Whenever creature dealt damage this turn this way dies. Populate. Whew, what? Has red ever gotten populate before? So this thing is the boar god. The boar god that was like rallying the troops and stuff in the last isn't it the boar god? I don't know. In the last Ravnica block. So that's cool. It's a neat character to bring back. You thought he was just a big stupid boar? Nah. It's a big stupid boar that smashes stuff and then makes new guys pop in. Alright, fun. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm an idiot. What is this stupid boar god called? Boar god. Boar god. I have a hard time saying boar god. Boar god. Oh. Well, you can see it's an easy mistake to make. This guy's got more tusks, though. The names are quite similar. Anyways, the belligerences of this guy. He's a Conclave Exile. I didn't even read that line. Okay. So he gives you a 4/4 Rhino. Whenever you attacks, you get, at the very least, another Rhino. Here's his Rhino. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know they started doing this. That's really neat. They'll show you the token that's printed with it. Yeah. I like it. Okay, so it looks like the decks are tokens and populate, flashback, morph, and walls? Or was that actually part of another one? Clone effects? I don't know. Let's go on the subreddit and see what we see. Legendary wall. So what is it that I want to look at here? I go top last week. Probably. Yeah, look at the number. Yeah. See? People think something's up with this card. I agree. I agree. I thought there would just be like an article. Let's just Google Commander 2019. There we go. Faceless Menace, so this is the Morph one. Wait, so did we see all of it? Are spoilers just over? I guess that was it. I guess we have seen all of it now. Alright, that's fine. There's a lot of cool cards. I didn't really expect anything more. Sure. So these are all the new cards. I feel like we saw all of these. And then there's some here that were reprints that we didn't see spoiled, like Shrine of the Faceless Gods we didn't see before. So I would have talked about that card for like an hour. That card is so cool. Just the flavor of it is so cool. What? Oh, okay. New article each day. Wait. So what about the other ones? So we've seen the entirety of this deck. We haven't seen... am I just an idiot? Do I like not understand what I'm looking at here? If we go... It's not even in the right order. Alright, well, whatever. We've seen what we've seen. Certainly seen a lot more cards than are here. Alright, very, very confusing. I don't know if spoilers are over or not. I don't know if we've seen all of the decks or not. I kind of don't think so. I think we've just seen all of that deck. Or maybe? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, alright. Well, what do people think about this? That seems fine. That seems fine. Yeesh. We'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. Okay, that's all for now. Bye bye.